A distant planet begins to show signs of life, but its star died billions of years ago. Dr. Meera Kapoor stared at the data scrolling across her terminal, her fingers frozen above the keyboard. The readouts couldn't be right. She'd checked the calibration of the quantum resonance imaging array 3 times already. The QRIA was the most advanced exoplanet analysis system ever developed. Its quantum-entangled sensors could detect molecular-level changes in atmospheric composition across interstellar distances, a feat that had revolutionized exoplanetary science. But this was impossible. "Dr. Lee," she called out, not taking her eyes off the screen. "Could you verify these readings for me?" Wei Li, her postdoctoral assistant, peered over her shoulder. His eyes widened. "That can't be right. KIC 7923b is in a dead system. Its star went supernova almost 4 billion years ago. Yet we're detecting not just atmospheric changes," Meera said quietly, "but patterns consistent with deliberate atmospheric engineering. Oxygen levels rising at a steady rate. Methane concentrations fluctuating in periodic cycles. Carbon dioxide being sequestered. Terraforming signatures," Wei whispered. "In a system that should be dead and frozen. A planet that, by all accounts, should be a lifeless rock drifting through interstellar darkness." Meera pushed back from her desk, her mind racing. "We need to verify this. Run a full-spectrum analysis, and let's get confirmation from the Lunar Observatory." As Wei hurried off, Meera tried to make sense of what she was seeing. KIC 7923b, unofficially dubbed Lazarus by her team, was a super-Earth exoplanet about 1.6 times Earth's size, orbiting a G-type star similar to our Sun. Or at least, it had been. The star had died in a spectacular supernova approximately 3.8 billion years ago, leaving behind a neutron star and a devastated planetary system. By all rights, any planets in the system should have been either destroyed by the supernova or left as frozen, irradiated husks. Yet here was Lazarus, showing unmistakable signs of atmospheric modification, the kind that could only come from technological intervention. Meera's terminal chimed with an incoming call. It was Admiral Helena Reyes, director of the Pan-Solar Department of Exoplanetary Research. Meera had worked with her enough to know the Admiral didn't make social calls. "Dr. Kapoor," Reyes said, her face appearing on the screen. The lines around her eyes seemed deeper than Meera remembered. "I understand you've made an unusual discovery." "You already know?" Meera asked, surprised. "Your QRIA findings triggered several automated security protocols. I need you to send all your data to my secure server immediately, and then scrub it from your local systems." Meera frowned. "Admiral, with all due respect, this could be the most significant discovery in the history of astronomy. If there's a civilization capable of surviving the death of their star, that's precisely why I need that data, Doctor." Reyes leaned closer to the camera. "You're not the only one who's noticed Lazarus. We've detected anomalous transmissions from the system." Directed transmissions. A chill ran down Meera's spine. "Someone sending messages. Not just messages. We believe they're sending a probe. Toward us." 6 months later, Meera found herself aboard the UES Prometheus, the most advanced vessel in Earth's interstellar fleet. At nearly 2 kilometers in length, the ship was a marvel of human engineering, a fusion-powered behemoth equipped with gravitational wave drives that could bend spacetime itself, allowing for faster-than-light travel. She stood on the observation deck, watching as the stars streaked by outside. The Prometheus wasn't traveling at its maximum speed, the gravitational distortions would have torn the ship apart, but even at this cruising velocity, they were covering light-years in days. "Quite a view, isn't it?" Meera turned to see Captain Marcus Chin approaching. The veteran spacer moved with the easy grace of someone who had spent most of his life in variable gravity environments. "It still doesn't seem real," Meera admitted. 6 months ago, I was analyzing atmospheric data in my lab. Now I'm on a first contact mission to a planet that shouldn't exist. Life has a way of surprising us, Chen said with a slight smile. Even when that life exists around a dead star. His expression grew more serious. Admiral Reyes wanted me to inform you that we'll be dropping out of FTL in approximately 12 hours. We'll be within scanning range of the Lazarus system. I should prepare the QRIA relay, Meera said. The Prometheus carried a more advanced version of her quantum resonance imaging technology, capable of providing real-time detailed scans of the planet once they were in range. There's something else, Chen added. The Admiral wishes to speak with you in the secure briefing room. Something about the probe. The probe. The mysterious object that had been launched from the Lazarus system toward Earth shortly after Meera's discovery. The object that had accelerated to nearly half the speed of light before seemingly vanishing from all sensors. The object that had prompted this hasty expedition to a dead star system. In the briefing room, Admiral Reyes waited with Commander Sato, the ship's tactical officer, and Dr. Ellis Reed, the mission's xenobiologist. The Admiral nodded as Meera entered. Dr. Kapoor, thank you for joining us. I believe you know everyone here. Meera took a seat. Has there been a development with the probe? We've managed to detect it again, Reyes said, activating a holographic display in the center of the table. A stream of data appeared alongside a blurry image of what looked like an elongated teardrop shape. It's using some form of gravitational lensing to conceal itself, but our newest algorithms can compensate somewhat. Its trajectory has changed, Commander Sato added. It's no longer heading directly for the Sol system. It appears to be on an intercept course with us. It knows we're coming, Meera realized. That's our assessment, Reyes confirmed. Which means whoever sent it has observational capabilities far beyond what we anticipated. Or, Dr. Reed interjected, they predicted our response. If they've been studying us, they might have calculated that we'd send an expedition as soon as we detected their planet's anomalous readings. The question is, what do they want? Meera asked, studying the image of the probe. Its design was unlike anything in human technological development, organic-looking, with what appeared to be fibrous structures wrapping around a central core. That's what we need to determine before it reaches us, Reyes said grimly. Our ETA to intercept is approximately 36 hours, assuming it maintains its current velocity. And if it accelerates? Meera asked. Then we'll need to decide whether to match its speed or take defensive measures. Defensive measures? Meera echoed. Admiral, we're talking about potentially the first contact with an advanced alien civilization. We can't just, I understand your concern, Doctor, Reyes cut in. But my primary responsibility is the safety of this ship and its crew. We don't know the intentions of whoever sent that probe. They've survived the death of their star, a catastrophic event that should have ended all life in their system. That speaks to capabilities and a mindset we can't begin to fathom. Meera wanted to argue further but saw from Reyes's expression that it would be futile. Instead, she asked, what do you need from me? Your QRIA technology. As we approach the system, I want you to focus on analyzing not just the planet, but anything unusual about the space surrounding it. If they've developed technology to survive without a star, there must be evidence of it. I'll do what I can, Meera promised. As the meeting broke up, she lingered, examining the holographic image of the probe. There was something about its design that nagged at her, a strange familiarity she couldn't place. If sensing her thoughts, Dr. Reed appeared at her side. Reminds you of something, doesn't it? You feel it too? Meera asked. Reed nodded slowly. Not exactly like anything I've seen before, but there's something about the structural organization. It's almost like... He hesitated. Like what? Like something we might have designed, if we'd taken a different evolutionary and technological path. Reed's eyes met hers. I can't shake the feeling that whatever is waiting for us at Lazarus might be more familiar than we expect. The Prometheus dropped out of FTL drive on the edge of the Lazarus system, its massive engines powering down as the ship transitioned to conventional propulsion. Meera stood at her station on the bridge, monitoring the QRIA data as it began streaming in. Initial scans of the system, she reported. Neutron star confirmed, the remnant of KIC 7923. 8 planetary bodies still in orbit, though their orbits have been significantly altered by the supernova event. And Lazarus? Admiral Reyes asked from the command chair. Meera focused the sensors on the third planet from the dead star. Confirmed. KIC 7923b is approximately 1.6 Earth masses, with. She trailed off, staring at the readings in disbelief. Doctor? Captain Chen prompted. This can't be right, Meera said, adjusting the sensors. We're detecting energy signatures throughout the planet's orbit. Massive structures, thousands of them, in a spherical configuration around the planet. On screen, ordered Reyes, the main view screen shifted to show a distant view of Lazarus. Around it, just visible as tiny points of light, was a swarm of objects. Magnify, Chen commanded. The image zoomed in, resolving into a clearer picture. The objects were indeed structures, massive panels that appeared to be redirecting light and energy toward the planet. It's a Dyson swarm, Meera breathed. A partial one, at least. They've constructed thousands of solar collectors to capture energy from, but that doesn't make sense. The neutron star emits primarily in X-rays and gamma rays, not visible light. How are they, alert, interrupted the tactical officer. The probe has accelerated. Intercept in 20 minutes. Battle stations, Reyes ordered immediately. Shields to maximum. Admiral, Meera protested, we don't know that it's hostile. And we don't know that it isn't, Reyes countered. We'll take no chances. She turned to the communications officer. Broadcast our first contact protocol message on all frequencies. As the ship prepared for the probe's arrival, Meera continued analyzing the QRIA data. Something was off about the readings from Lazarus. The atmospheric composition was Earth-like, which made sense if it was being terraformed, but there was something else, subtle quantum signatures in the upper atmosphere that the QRIA was detecting but couldn't properly classify. Probe will reach our position in 5 minutes, announced Commander Sato. Any response to our message? Reyes asked. None, Admiral. Meera barely heard the exchange, focused intently on her readings. The quantum signatures, they reminded her of something. Of the theoretical models she'd studied during the development of the QRIA. Models of quantum information transfer across entangled particles. It's a communication system, she said suddenly. What is? Reed asked from the science station next to hers. The quantum fluctuations in Lazarus's atmosphere. They're not natural, they're a vast, planet-wide quantum communication network. Meera looked up, excitement overriding her anxiety. Whoever they are, they're using quantum entanglement for instantaneous communication across interstellar distances. Could that explain how they detected us so quickly? Chen asked. Possibly, Meera confirmed. If they have entangled particles aboard the probe and on their planet, they could communicate instantly, regardless of distance. Probe has decelerated, announced Commander Sato. It's holding position 5,000 kilometers off our bow. On screen, ordered Reyes, the view screen shifted to show the probe. It was even stranger up close, a teardrop-shaped craft about 30 meters long, with a fibrous, organic-looking exterior that seemed to pulse with internal light. There were no visible propulsion systems, weapons, or even external sensors. It's just, sitting there, muttered Reed. Scanning us, most likely, said Sato. We're receiving a transmission, reported the communications officer. It's unusual, Admiral. Not on any standard frequency. It appears to be modulating directly through the quantum field. Can we receive it? Reyes asked. I think so. It's utilizing principles similar to our own quantum communication technology, just far more advanced. Put it through. There was a moment of silence, then a voice emerged from the bridge speakers, a synthesized voice with an oddly familiar cadence. "Greetings, travelers from Earth. We have been expecting you." A collective shock rippled through the bridge. The message was in perfect English. "They know who we are," Reyes said quietly. "We've been observing your civilization for some time," the voice continued. "Your development has followed a promising trajectory. Your discovery of our existence and your subsequent expedition demonstrates your species' curiosity and initiative, qualities we value highly." "Open a channel," Reyes ordered. When the communications officer nodded, she spoke. "This is Admiral Helena Reyes of the United Earth ship Prometheus. We come in peace, seeking to understand how life exists in a system whose star died billions of years ago." There was a pause before the response came. "A reasonable question, Admiral. The answer is both simple and complex. We survived because we chose to survive. Just as your species might, given sufficient determination and foresight." "Are you requesting permission to approach your planet?" Reyes asked. "That would be premature," the voice replied. "Before further contact, we must assess your readiness. We have prepared a challenge, a test of your species' problem-solving capabilities and ethical framework." "A test?" Reyes echoed, glancing at Meera. "Indeed. The probe before you contains a simulation environment. We request that you send a representative to interface with it. Dr. Meera Kapoor would be our preferred candidate, given her role in discovering our existence." Meera felt a chill run down her spine as all eyes turned to her. "How do you know my name?" she asked. "We have been monitoring your communications since you detected the atmospheric changes on our world. Your quantum resonance technology is impressive, a promising step toward more advanced applications of quantum mechanics." Admiral Reyes muted the channel. "I don't like this, Doctor. They're asking you to interact with unknown alien technology." "It's a risk," Meera acknowledged. "But think about what we might learn. A civilization that survived the death of its star, they must possess technology centuries beyond ours. Or they could be setting a trap," Commander Sato warned. "If they wanted to harm us, they could have done so already," Meera countered. "Their technological superiority is evident. I think they're genuinely curious about us, just as we are about them." Reyes considered this. "Dr. Reed, what's your assessment?" The xenobiologist looked thoughtful. "Their approach is consistent with a species that values cognitive ability and ethical reasoning. The concept of a test before fuller contact is not unreasonable, especially if they're concerned about our potential threat level." After a moment, Reyes nodded. "Very well." She reopened the channel. "We accept your proposal. Dr. Kapoor will represent humanity in your test. However, we require assurances of her safety." "Her physical form will remain aboard your vessel," the voice replied. "Only her consciousness will interface with our simulation environment, through a quantum entanglement process similar to your own experimental neural interface technologies." Meera's eyes widened. The voice was referring to classified research, neural interfaces that used quantum entanglement to directly link human consciousness with external systems. It was still highly experimental, with only a handful of successful tests. "How will this process work?" she asked. "The probe will extend a quantum link to your ship. Your medical technology can establish the neural connection. The process is entirely reversible and presents no danger to your biological functions." Admiral Reyes looked at Meera questioningly. After a moment of consideration, Meera nodded. "I'll do it." 3 hours later, Meera lay on a medical bed in the ship's Advanced Treatment Center, surrounded by monitoring equipment. Dr. Eliza Santos, the chief medical officer, attached the final neural sensor to Meera's temple. "Your vital signs will be continuously monitored," Santos explained. "The first sign of distress will terminate the connection." Across the room, a cylindrical device received quantum data from the alien probe, its interior pulsing with a soft blue light. Chief Engineer Alvarez stood beside it, checking readings on a tablet. "The quantum entanglement is stable," he reported. "Their technology is elegant. Far more efficient than our prototypes." Admiral Reyes stood at the foot of the bed. "You can still back out, Doctor." Meera shook her head slightly, careful not to dislodge the sensors. "We came all this way for answers. This is our chance to get them." "Very well." Reyes nodded to Santos. "Proceed." The doctor activated the neural interface. Meera felt a brief tingling sensation, then a wave of dizziness as her consciousness seemed to stretch, extending beyond the confines of her body. Then, suddenly, clarity. She found herself standing in what appeared to be a vast, empty white space that extended infinitely in all directions. Before her stood a figure, humanoid in general shape, but clearly not human. Its body was composed of what looked like shifting crystal structures, refracting light in complex patterns. Where a face would be, there was a swirling nebula of tiny lights. "Greetings, Dr. Kapoor," the being said, its voice resonating directly in her mind. "I am Nexus, an interface construct designed to facilitate our interaction." "Are you one of them?" Meera asked. "The inhabitants of Lazarus." "I am a representation," Nexus replied. "My creators thought a more comprehensible form would ease our communication." "Your creators, who are they? How did they survive the death of their star?" The crystalline being made a gesture that somehow conveyed amusement. "Direct questions. A human trait we've observed consistently. Before I answer, I must administer the test. Are you prepared?" Meera nodded. "What kind of test is it?" "A series of challenges designed to assess your species' problem-solving abilities, ethical framework, and potential for growth." The white space around them shifted, transforming into a representation of a planetary system. This first challenge concerns resource allocation in a dying star system. For what felt like hours, Meera worked through increasingly complex scenarios, managing resources for a civilization facing extinction, designing adaptive technologies to harness alternative energy sources, establishing ethical frameworks for a society undergoing radical transformation. Throughout, Nexus observed and occasionally guided, but never provided direct answers. The challenges required Meera to draw on everything she knew: physics, engineering, sociology, ethics, and often to extend beyond her knowledge into creative speculation. Finally, after a particularly difficult challenge involving the preservation of biological diversity during planetary evacuation, the simulation paused. "You have performed admirably, Dr. Kapoor," Nexus said. "Your approaches demonstrate both analytical rigor and creative adaptation, a promising combination. Have I passed your test?" Meera asked, mentally exhausted but exhilarated. "The test continues," Nexus replied. "But we have gathered sufficient data to proceed with more direct information exchange." The environment shifted again, this time resolving into what appeared to be an observation platform overlooking Lazarus. The planet below was a vibrant blue and green sphere, surrounded by the swarm of energy-collecting structures she had observed from the Prometheus. Now, however, she could see them in much greater detail, vast, intricate constructs that seemed to bend space itself around them. "What you are seeing," Nexus explained, "is our home as it exists currently. The structures surrounding it are not merely energy collectors, they are space-time manipulators that create a localized bubble of altered physics." "You're manipulating the fundamental constants?" Meera asked, astonished. "In a limited volume of space, yes. It allows us to harvest energy from quantum fluctuations in the vacuum itself, essentially creating a small region where energy can be extracted from the fabric of reality." "That's beyond anything we've even theorized," Meera admitted. "Your civilization is young," Nexus said, without condescension. "You have existed for mere moments in cosmic terms. We have had billions of years to develop our understanding of the universe." "So your species survived the supernova?" You were already technologically advanced when your star died. The crystalline being made a sound that might have been laughter. Not exactly. Now we come to the heart of the matter. The true test is not your problem-solving abilities, Dr. Kapoor, but your capacity to accept a truth that may challenge your understanding of yourselves. The scene shifted again, and Meera found herself floating above what appeared to be ancient Earth, a primordial version of her home planet, with a single massive continent surrounded by vast oceans. Approximately 4 billion years ago, Nexus narrated, a catastrophic event occurred in our home system. Our star, reaching the end of its life cycle, exploded in a supernova. Our civilization, advanced as it was, faced extinction. Images flashed around them, strange cities of crystal and light, beings similar to Nexus but more varied in form, and massive ships launching from a dying world. We had prepared, but not sufficiently. Only a fraction of our population could be evacuated before the final cataclysm. These survivors set out to find new homes among the stars. The view shifted to show one of the great ships approaching a familiar blue planet, Earth. No, Meera whispered, beginning to understand. Yes, Nexus confirmed. One of our vessels reached your world, a young planet with promising biochemistry but no advanced life forms. Our ancestors, facing the end of their physical forms due to radiation damage from the supernova, made a desperate choice. The scene showed microscopic structures, complex molecular machines, being released into Earth's primordial oceans. They encoded their consciousness, their knowledge, their very essence into self-replicating molecular structures, what you would call DNA. Not as a complete transfer, but as a seed, a potential that would develop over billions of years of evolution, guided subtly by quantum resonances embedded in the genetic code. You're saying, human beings evolved from your genetic material? Meera asked, struggling to process the implications. Not exactly. Your evolution was natural and unguided in most respects. But the initial template, the complex, self-replicating molecules that eventually led to all life on Earth, those were our design. And within them were embedded patterns, potentialities that would eventually lead to consciousness similar to our own. We're your descendants, Meera realized. That's why the probe seemed familiar to Dr. Reed. It was designed by the same fundamental principles that shaped our own technological development. You are not us, Nexus clarified. You are yourselves, the product of Earth's unique evolutionary pressures and your own choices. But yes, there is a connection. A shared heritage. But if your people came to Earth, who's on Lazarus now? How is there life on a planet orbiting a dead star? Some of us remained, Nexus explained. Those too connected to our homeworld to leave, and those tasked with preserving our civilization's knowledge. They retreated underground before the supernova, shielded by our most advanced technologies. For millions of years, they existed in a dormant state, awakening periodically to maintain the vast archives of our knowledge. The view shifted back to Lazarus, showing vast underground complexes filled with crystalline structures similar to Nexus's form. As our technology advanced through the eons, we developed the means to harness vacuum energy through localized manipulation of spacetime. This allowed us to gradually return to the surface and begin restoring our world, despite the absence of our star. And now? Meera asked. Now we observe. We have watched your species develop, seen you overcome countless challenges. Your discovery of our quantum resonance signatures was not entirely accidental. We increased their intensity, curious to see if you had developed the technology to detect them. A test, Meera realized. Like this one. Indeed. We needed to confirm what we suspected, that humanity has reached the threshold where contact might be established. Why now? If you've been watching us for so long, why reveal yourselves? Nexus's crystalline form shifted, the lights within it dimming slightly. Because time grows short, Dr. Kapoor. The galaxy faces a threat greater than the death of a single star. The simulation expanded, showing a vast view of the Milky Way. At its edges, dark patches appeared, regions where stars simply vanished from view. For the past several million years, we have detected anomalies in the fabric of spacetime, regions where the fundamental constants of physics are failing. These failures are spreading, consuming entire star systems. Our models predict that within the next 10,000 years, this phenomenon will reach the solar system. What's causing it? Meera asked, horrified by the implications. We do not know with certainty. Our leading theory involves the decay of false vacuum states, essentially, the universe transitioning to a lower energy state where current physical laws no longer apply. But regardless of the cause, the effect is the same, the end of all life as we understand it. And you think we can help? Our technology is primitive compared to yours. Your perspective is invaluable precisely because it is different, Nexus explained. Our civilization has pursued a linear path of technological development for billions of years. We have become specialized in our thinking. Humanity, with its chaotic, diverse approaches to problem solving, may see possibilities we have overlooked. The simulation began to fade, and Meera felt herself being pulled back toward her physical body. Our time grows short, Nexus said. You will return to your vessel now, with the knowledge you have gained. Share it with your leaders. If humanity chooses to accept our invitation, send your response through the quantum resonance frequencies you have already detected. We will be waiting. Wait, Meera called out as the simulation dissolved around her. You still haven't told me your name, what your species calls itself. As her consciousness snapped back to her body aboard the Prometheus, she heard Nexus's final words echoing in her mind. We have had many names throughout our long existence. But the name we bore when we first reached your world, the name encoded in the very building blocks of your DNA, translates roughly as, those who endure. Meera's eyes snapped open to find the medical bay of the Prometheus in chaos. Alarms blared, and the medical team hovered anxiously around her bed. She's back, Dr. Santos announced, relief evident in her voice. Vital signs stabilizing. Admiral Reyes appeared at Meera's side. Doctor, are you all right? You've been unresponsive for over 6 hours. We were about to terminate the connection forcibly. 6 hours? Meera croaked, her throat dry. It felt like, much longer. What happened? Reyes demanded. What did they show you? Meera struggled to sit up, her mind racing with the implications of what she had learned. How could she possibly explain? The origin of life on Earth, the impending cosmic catastrophe, the invitation from beings who had endured for billions of years. Admiral, she said finally, we need to send a message to Earth. Immediately. What I've learned changes everything. Explain, Reyes said, her expression grave. Meera took a deep breath. They're not aliens, Admiral. Not in the way we thought. They're our ancestors, the creators of the first self-replicating molecules on Earth. And they're warning us about a threat to the entire galaxy. In the silence that followed, Meera could see the disbelief on the faces around her. It mirrored her own initial reaction. But she also saw something else, particularly in the eyes of Dr. Reed and some of the other scientists. A dawning recognition, as if pieces of a puzzle they hadn't even known they were solving suddenly clicked into place. It sounds incredible, she acknowledged. But it makes sense of so many things, the familiar aspects of their technology, their interest in us specifically, even certain anomalies in our own genetic code that we've never fully explained. And this threat? Reyes asked cautiously. A breakdown in the fundamental constants of physics, spreading across the galaxy like a wave. They've been tracking it for millions of years. According to their models, it will reach our solar system within 10,000 years. 10,000 years is hardly an immediate crisis, Commander Sato observed. For a species that thinks in terms of billions of years, it's tomorrow, Meera countered. And they don't have a solution, not yet. That's why they've contacted us. They believe our different perspective might help them find one. Or they're manipulating us for their own purposes, Reyes suggested. That's possible, Meera conceded. But I don't think so. They could have remained hidden, continued to observe us without revealing themselves. The fact that they've chosen to make contact now suggests genuine concern. As the medical team finished their examinations and the senior officers withdrew to discuss the situation, Meera found herself alone with Dr. Reed. "You believe me," she said. It wasn't a question, Reed nodded slowly. "There have always been anomalies in our understanding of how life emerged on Earth. The jump from simple organic compounds to self-replicating molecules with the complexity of DNA has never been satisfactorily explained. And then there's the Cambrian explosion, the rapid diversification of complex life forms. If some guiding principle was embedded in our genetic code from the beginning, pushing evolution towards certain forms of consciousness, it would explain a lot," Meera finished for him. "So what happens now?" Reed asked. Meera looked out the viewport at the alien probe, still hovering at a respectful distance from the Prometheus. Beyond it, just visible as a dim point of light, was Lazarus, a world that should have died billions of years ago but instead had endured, preserved by the determination and ingenuity of its inhabitants. "Now," she said, "we face perhaps the greatest test in human history. Do we retreat from this revelation, deny it out of fear or pride? Or do we accept the hand that's being extended to us, the hand of those who, in some sense, gave us life, and join them in facing a threat beyond anything we've imagined?" Reed followed her gaze toward the distant planet. "When you put it that way, is there really a choice?" "There's always a choice," Meera replied. "That's what makes us human. The capacity to choose our path, even in the face of overwhelming odds. It's what they're counting on, that faced with the ultimate challenge, humanity will choose to endure." As if in response to her words, the probe began to pulse with a soft, rhythmic light, a beacon in the darkness, calling humanity toward a future among the stars, guided by those who had survived the death of their own sun and now offered a chance for their descendants to survive the greater darkness that was coming. A choice, and a challenge. One that would define not just humanity's place in the cosmos, but perhaps the future of all life in the galaxy. In the quiet of the medical bay, staring out at that distant signal, Meera made her own choice. "We'll endure," she whispered. "Together."